Today, we are talking about the most important step, and that is submitting your credit application. A lot of people hold back thinking that I don't know how my finances look right now, but we're here to offer that professional support to you. And today on this call, I have my loan originator, Faith Kiunga. I'm going to let Faith take us through the process of submitting your credit application to get pre-approved for your new home. Thank you and welcome, Faith.
Thank you so much, Sam. Again, thank you. Always a pleasure to chat with you on, on holdings mortgage and holdings buying and selling of homes. So the pre-approval process, it's the very first step that you want to do before you start the mortgage process. And I tell people that getting pre-approved is very important for two different reasons. Number one, it helps you know how much you can qualify for.
Yes.
So you shop with the knowledge of knowing I can go up to whatever match, right?
Yes.
Number two, it helps you know your monthly payments and how much you're supposed to bring for closing if you go for a certain amount of a home. So some people I encourage people to tell me their budget because I want to know where they want to stay within, like how much they are comfortable paying on a monthly basis.
Yes.
So sometimes I find people qualifying for so much, but then their budget is a certain amount. Then I'm able to advise and say, okay, to stay within your budget, I know you have qualified for 700,000 or 800 or $1 million, but you need to stay within 450, the range of 400 to 450,000 to stay within your budget. So pre-approval, it's very, very important. Again, it's the first step that you should take even before going to your realtor, because then before even you start looking, you know exactly what you're looking for.
Yes.
Now, the pre-approval process is very simple and seamless. I try personally to make it very simple and seamless for my buyers. I ask for very, very few staff. So the very first thing, of course, is submitting an application. So the first time you consult with me, I will send you an application link that you need to submit an application. The application takes around 5 to 10 minutes. It's very, very mobile friendly. It's more like a questionnaire,
Yes.
So once I have the application, I need only 4 documents from you. Can you believe it? Only 4.
Yes.
That's how I do it, just to make it simple and seamless. Number one, I'm gonna want to see your 2 years of W-2s. That is if you are employed. 2 years of W-2s, and I'm gonna explain a little bit about the W-2s. I'm just gonna mention them, then I'll explain a little bit. So 2 years of W-2s. So like right now we're in 2024. So right now I'm asking for 2022 and 2023 W-2s.
Yes.
That is if you're employed. If you're self-employed, it's 2 years of taxes. Okay.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna ask again, if you're employed, I'm gonna ask for most recent 60 days pay stubs. So
Okay.
if you're paid bi-weekly, is your most recent 2 pay stubs to make it easy. Number 3, I'm gonna ask for a form of government issued identification. It can be a driver's license. It can be, an identification card. Number 3, I'm gonna ask for most recent bank statement, at least 2 months bank statement. The reason we ask about the bank statement is because we want to make sure you have at least some sort of assets and some money available for your closing. Now,
Yes.
instead of the bank statement, you can use things like 401k.
Okay.
If you have stocks, basically is anywhere you have money that is and be liquidated,
Yes.
right? And also there's an option of a relative giving you a gift. So
Okay.
that's also another option. Then how many did I talked about? Did I do the 4? So I talked about the W-2s, the driver's license, the most recent pay stamps, and the bank statement. Yes, those are the only 4 things that I require, Sam.
Yes.
Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about the employment, because there's a myth. People think you have to be in the same job for 2 years for you to get pre-qualified.
Okay.
Now, think about it. For example, the nurses, most of them within 2 years, they have worked with 3, 4, 5 hospitals, right? So you
Okay.
do not have to be in the same job. I mean, like the same company employing you for the last 2 years,
Okay.
as long as it's the same line of work.
Okay.
You
Okay.
can
That's
switch
good.
from one company to another. It just needs to be the same line of work for the
Okay.
last 2 years. So I find people even with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 W-2s, for the last 2 years, as long as you provide me with all the W-2s for the last 2 years. So it doesn't mean you have to have the same employer, in other ones, for 2
Okay.
years.
That's
It
good
can be
news.
different employers, but the same line of work.
Okay.
Now, what if you switch careers from, for example, from being a teacher to IT? The only time it does not affect is if you go to a better paying career. So you can change your career within the last 2 years, but it has to be reasonable enough. Like you came from $70,000 a year, now you're in IT, which is $90,000 a year. It's still doable. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what if you have a job gap in the last 2 years? So let's say you got a baby and you took off for 3 months or 4 months. So you don't have continuous 2 years.
Okay.
If you have a job gap of less than 6 months,
Okay.
you can write something called the LOE, or letter of explanation, just to explain what happened within that gap, right?
Okay.
Or
Okay.
maybe you want to travel to, to Africa for 2 months or 3 months. You can just write a letter of explanation. Now, what if the job gap was more than 6 months? If the job gap was more than 6 months in the last 2 years, then you have to go back to work and work for at least 6 months.
Okay.
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 So another mistake people make if you're planning to buy a home and you are employed, that means you're being paid with a W-2 at the end of the year. Do not switch to start your own business, or do not switch to become self-employed within the 2 years before you get a home. So this is what happens, Sam. So let's say I'm employed, right? Then I
Okay.
decide to start my business. I decided to start my business 2 months ago. And
Okay.
then I'm coming to apply for the mortgage. Unfortunately, for business income, it has to be 2 years. So if you switch from being employed to self-employed, then you have to wait for 2 years. But vice versa is not correct. So let's say you are self-employed. Now you switch to W-2. Guess what? If you switch to W-2, you can buy. You don't need to
Okay.
wait for 2 years.
Okay.
I know it's not fair, right? But I mean, it's the
Hey, it
rule of
takes
the
time to
market.
build
That's not my
business.
rule.
Yeah, it takes
Yeah,
time to build
yeah.
business. So
So yeah. So business income is very tricky. I'm saying 2 years of taxes, but it doesn't mean you automatically qualify just because you filed taxes for the last 2 years.
and
So
that's
this
why
is
I
what I'm
want you
gonna
to
tell.
explain about the taxes, how we've been able to have
Yes,
some of self-employed people.
yes. So this is what I tell people, and I advise business owners. If you know you're gonna buy a home at least in the next 2 years, consult with me before even you file your taxes. So for example, businesses, it depends on how you file your taxes, because some business owners can file a Schedule C on their 1040. Some have an 1120S, which is a S corp. Some have 1120, which is a C corp. Some have a 1065, which is a partnership. So depending on how you file your taxes, there are numbers we look at. For example, if you file a Schedule C on your 1040, we look at the Schedule C income, and we don't look at the gross, the gross profit, because you might have grossed 100,000 for the year, but
Okay.
then out of the 100,000 you expensed 80,000. That means you're left with a net of 20, right?
Okay. Yes.
So the 20 is what I look at. Then I divide the 20 by 12 months to get your monthly income for that specific year. So it's very crucial when you're filing your taxes. And I tell people, please just don't go, especially business people, just don't go to just anyone to file your taxes. Okay.
Yes.
And especially people in the tracking business. So this is something common I've seen some. There's something called depreciation.
Okay.
So the IRS allows you to depreciate if you own a truck, for example, the 18-wheeler truck,
Okay.
because it's a business asset. Basically, any assets of the business, you can depreciate it. But I'm specifically talking about the truck because it's a lot of money. People buy trucks for $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, right?
Yes.
So the IRS allows you to depreciate the truck for 3 years, the trailer for 5. What I mean depreciation is because this is an asset for the business that loses value every year.
Yes.
And it's meant for the business, right? Okay, so let's say you bought a truck 2023, for example, for $40,000. So guess what? You can depreciate the whole of $40,000, which is an expense to you. But because it's a non-cash expense, I'm going to add it back when it comes to mortgage. I'm going to add it back to the net income.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Business income is tricky. And the reason I'm telling people to go to tax, professionals instead of just any other tax person is because I've seen people who own truck, but there's no depreciation in their return. That is money left on the table.
And that's why we want them to contact you so that we can have a clear plan of
Yes.
how to
Now,
reflect on their income.
yeah, so some businesses file, they file their taxes as S corps or 1120S. That one we look at something called the K1. So the K1 is gonna tell us if you have the 100%, profit share of the company, or is it just a percentage? Okay, and even the partnership return, which is the 1065. So basically, I just don't want to get into too much details and confuse people on the business, but it's going to consult with me even before you file, because I want you to get frustrated. You thought you made a lot of money, but you expense so much you can't even qualify. So another thing I really wanted to mention, because most people do not know about this. So let's say you've been in the trucking business, you have a company, a trucking company, for example, or Omeoth company, whatever company you have, and you've been having that company for at least 5 years, right? Guess what? We can use only the most recent tax year to qualify you instead of 2 years. All you need to do is prove you've been in that business at least for 5 years. When I say prove, is sometimes we have provided taxes from 5 years ago. Sometimes we have provided articles of incorporation for a company to show that that company you formed it over 5 years ago. As long as we can show you've been in business, that specific business for 5 years, then I don't need to average your 2 years of income. We can just work with the most recent one here.
That's great.
Another thing I remember, it's just a lot of, it's small things and mistakes people make that make them.
That's why we're having this.
That's why, yes. Now, people have multiple jobs, and I'm talking about what I see every day.
Yes.
People have multiple jobs. Now, you do an application, I look and you're working 2 career jobs. So you have a full-time job, then you have a side gig or, a part-time job, right? So let's say you started the second job less than 2 years ago, for example, in 2024. So you are working one job all along. Then in January this year, you started another job. Now you have 2 jobs. So guess what? The only time we can consider 2 jobs income, we have to have a proof that you have been working 2 jobs for 2 years consistently. So if you just started the second job, we cannot use the second job income, unfortunately. Okay.
Yes.
So the only time we can use 2 or 3, some people even have 3 jobs, but you have to show consistency of 3 jobs for 2 years. That's the only time we can consider all the incomes from the 3 jobs. Otherwise, we just consider the specific, the full-time job income. We don't consider the other one.
So you can still qualify so long as your first job qualifies you the right amount that you
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. No, I'm saying because I've seen people applying with 2 jobs and thinking they're gonna qualify based on the 2 jobs. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, most definitely. You will qualify, whatever amount you qualify with the first job. Yes. Then people, I talk to some people, they're like, I don't think I can qualify. I'm like, everybody qualifies. The difference is how much do you qualify for?
Yes.
There's no one who cannot qualify, right? There's no one who cannot qualify. The only difference is how much do you qualify for? Yeah. So.
And that's why we've been talking about these guys, is because we want you to take that step today and apply to see how much you qualify for. Because if you check some of our other videos, we've talked about other things about down payment assistance. We've talked about how much we're going to advise you on all the available financing options so that you can make that decision. Buying a home can be a 1-month step, 1-month planning, or it can be a 1-year planning. And that's why we want you to take that step so that you can have partners, which me as a realtor and Faith as the loan originator, so that we can give you professional advice so that you can plan with us. Planning with a team has more hands, more eyes, and it will elevate. It will actually really relieve you of all the tensions and all the myths that you've heard, oh, you can qualify. Because you know what? They say, if you're hanging out with people that haven't bought a house, they will give you all the reasons why you can't afford a house. But we're here to say, hey, come here with us. Let's talk about this, because we can help you be a homeowner. Anything else you want to add to this, Faith?
I'm just going to encourage people and say, again, there's a video, the video we did with Alex Chamando on Daring Abroad. I mentioned and I said, if you can afford to pay your rent, for example, if you're leasing a house right now, trust me, you can afford to buy a home. I don't see the reason why you should be, paying somebody else's mortgage, right? Instead of you building your own equity. So I would encourage people, please, especially our community,
Yes.
let's become homeowners. Let's create generational wealth
Yes.
through home ownership, because this is one surety way of creating generational wealth. And again, reach out to us. We are here. We offer free consultations.
Yes.
We have all the knowledge that you need basically
Yes.
to get you into a house, and whatever house that you want. So I'm just going to encourage people to reach out some, and let's help them.
All right. This is Sam Limo, your Texas realtor. I work with Keller Williams in Denton, and I'm here to help. And my phone number, you get my phone number right there. And Faith will let us know who she is, where she works at, and also the company that she works with. Faith.
Yes, so I do work with a company called Nations Reliable Lending. We are all in the 50 states. Personally, I'm licensed in 5 states: Texas, Missouri, Georgia, Kansas, and Pennsylvania. And I'm getting my North Carolina license because I have a realtor who wants to work with me in North Carolina. So that's going to be coming soon. Again, you can follow me on Facebook on my page, Faith Kiunga Lending. And my phone number is 469-761-2734. Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you. And everyone stay blessed and be a homeowner today, because you have a team that's here and ready to help you. Be blessed.
Thank you.